This is a standard can of Bumble Bee tuna. While it is a common consumer staple, the industrial process required to produce it involves high-pressure, high-heat environments that leave no room for error. In October 2012, that process failed. A maintenance worker named Jose Molina entered a 35-foot pressure cooker to make repairs, only for the vessel to be loaded and activated while he was still inside. While most industrial fatalities result in administrative fines, the Los Angeles County District Attorney referred this case directly to the Superior Court for felony prosecution. The outcome was a historic $6 million settlement. In a rare move, prosecutors filed criminal charges not only against the corporation, but against the individual safety and plant managers. This case established a pattern of prosecutors treating systemic safety failures as a form of criminal negligence, shifting the focus from the company to the individuals running the safety programs. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not legal advice. Always consult qualified legal and safety professionals for your specific situation. For corporate leadership, safety compliance has transitioned from a human resources metric to a primary factor in legal and financial survival. The $6 million paid in the settlement was only the visible part of the company's financial loss. In the insurance industry, a fatality of this scale is classified as a material adverse change event, or MACE, a trigger that forces a total reassessment of a company's risk profile. This diagram illustrates the financial cascade. The initial $74,000 Cal OSHA fine was the smallest component. When civil litigation, multi-year criminal defense, and a surge in insurance premiums are aggregated, the total liability can reach an estimated $20 million. To understand how a company incurs $20 million in debt from a single incident, we have to forensically examine the localized procedural gaps that allowed the cooker to be turned on. A single lockout tagout failure initiates a destructive chain of events that can financially destabilize the entire corporate entity. This is a retort oven, a 35-foot cylindrical pressure vessel used for the terminal sterilization of canned seafood. Molina's job required him to step inside this chamber to adjust a chain mechanism used to pull carts of product into the cooker. This 3D wireframe maps the 6 core lockout-tagout nodes required to physically isolate hazardous energy. Cal OSHA found Bumble Bee lacked machine-specific procedures, turning isolation into an ad hoc process reliant on memory. Consequently, Molina never applied a personal lockout device. When safety hardware application is not an absolute requirement, an industrial catastrophe becomes a statistical likelihood. The lockout-tagout failure was compounded by a secondary breakdown, the standard for permit-required confined spaces. Despite its size and the lethal atmospheric hazards, the facility did not treat the retort oven as a permit-required confined space. This diagram shows the overlap of defensive layers. Without a physical lodo lock and without a confined space attendant serving as a spotter, Molina's safety relied entirely on the assumption that his coworkers knew he was inside the vessel. That assumption failed. Unaware the vessel was occupied, coworkers loaded the product, sealed the heavy steel door, and activated the high-heat cooking cycle. Verbal confirmation and assumed awareness are never acceptable substitutes for engineered controls and physical isolation. Back in the legal arena, prosecutors used the Los Angeles County Worker Safety Unit to turn these safety violations into felony charges. The case rested on willful negligence. Prosecutors established the plant and safety managers' new low-tow protocols were routinely bypassed. Because they had authority but failed to act, they were held individually responsible for the fatality. This verdict demonstrates that at the executive level, passive observation of a failing safety system is legally equivalent to deliberately causing harm. This breaks down the $6 million settlement, $1.5 million for victim restitution, $1.5 million for fines, and $3 million mandated for automated ovens that workers can no longer physically enter. This chart shows the company's experience modification rate climbing from 0.92 to 1.18, triggering $2 million in premium surcharges. This spike often leads to market exclusion, as standard carriers refuse to cover companies with criminal safety convictions. Being forced into the surplus lines market dramatically increases the total cost of risk, siphoning capital away from other areas of the business. A safety failure is not a one-time expense. It is a financial penalty that persists for years in the insurance and legal markets. To prevent these systemic breakdowns, executives must implement controls that remove the possibility of a communication failure. This comparison shows the difference between the 2012 verbal model and a modern digital confined space permit system. It replaces assumed awareness with a hard-coded workflow. Digital permitting requires verified acknowledgement from the entrant and supervisor before energy is restored. Boardrooms should establish a capital budget pre-authorized for safety remediation. This allows managers to fix hazards without waiting for the standard capital approval cycle. Executives should also tie management compensation directly to safety performance indicators, such as the implementation of ISO 45001 standards. When personal financial incentives are aligned with safety outcomes, the operational inertia that prevents safety investments is removed. The legacy of the Bumble Bee case is that safety rules are not recommendations, they are legal mandates, and willful inaction is a criminal offense. A single Lodo failure can cost millions in fines, settlements, and lost business. The absolute best defense is a strictly documented, consistently enforced safety management system that leaves absolutely nothing to chance. If you want to learn more about OSHA compliance, Lodo procedures, and protecting your company from major liabilities, subscribe to the HSE Study YouTube channel. Proactive risk management is the only protection against industrial catastrophe.